into school and have an educational experience that is new and different, but it's not that at all. We ain't going to go into the car park and have a bonfire and start burning our books. Okay, it's not about that. It's not about bringing computers in, getting rid of books. This is what happens in school. Kids write, kids read, kids speak, and kids listen. And that's the essence of good education. What we're doing is adding another essence of fantastic education. None of that's being replaced. We're just moving forward and enhancing our teaching and learning with the devices and the technology that's available to us today. This isn't something that we're rushing into. We're not asking for your commitment to this on a whim and saying, you know what, this would be a great idea. We've been thinking about this for the whole of this academic year and previously, and we've been doing things in school to build the foundations on which that we can really have a fantastic educational experience. We've invested heavily in a wireless network. But anywhere in our school, these netbooks that we're going to show you and hopefully you'll buy into, they're supported by our wireless network. And we know this because we've been doing a pilot project. So the school has invested heavily in this, in the infrastructure that will support these devices. We've spent years building a virtual learning environment, a place where your children can go and collect educational resources at home and also in school to help them in lessons. I'm not going to spend a long time on this because this would be a presentation in itself. But many of you probably are aware what the VLE is and seen your kids using it. And I will speak a little bit about it during the presentation. But we've invested a lot of time in this in terms of actual physical time, but in terms of staff training, so that we can use it well. We asked staff first, if we're going to move forward with new technologies, what do we want new technologies to do? What would we like the devices, and technically what would we like them to be able to do? And what software would we need to make that happen? We also asked them what training they would need. It's a very scary thing to give some teachers 30 new kids with 30 new laptops and say, off you go. So we asked them what they needed. And then what we did, we took all of that information and we purchased 50 little netbooks. The idea was, and what we actually did, was we were going to put these out into school in two groups. One was going to be going with a group of kids, and they would keep those laptops and they would use them in class, and they would take them home and use them, and we would test the model as we see it developing. The other group was ones that we kept in school, and teachers used them, booked them out, and used them for various little activities in school, and we tested teaching and learning, and also the technology itself. So we went out and we purchased some netbooks that met the specification in terms of teaching and learning that teachers had said that would work for us. And then we all went training. And for 4 weeks, we trained as a school, as staff, as a group of staff. We met in the library and we trained. We taught ourselves and we spoke to each other and we developed our teaching and learning and we planned lessons. So we weren't just going to run into it blindly. We knew what we wanted to do and we made sure it could happen in our classrooms. We invested quite a long time in that. At this point, the children hadn't got any netbooks because what we didn't want to happen was for it to just not work because we weren't ready. Exactly as we are now, we are ready for the next step. So we invested a long time in that. None of us got our days. And then we got on the road, then we started our journey for the next year. Those netbooks went to the kids and we started our learning experiment, really, in our journey. And the kids started using their netbooks in class, the teachers started teaching lessons. And this is what we've seen. When you came in, you would have seen some quotes, some very long pieces of writing. And they were by the kids. And I asked them the other day just to email me what they felt about the netbooks. And I've just taken some snippets from those. And they're on the board there for you to read. And I think they're all really interesting because they do show quite a high level of, firstly, of understanding what they're doing and how it's helping them. And also there's some insights up there that I think are really, really important. And the one I particularly like is the one at the bottom when it says, I've learned how to touch type and sort out the internet. Now that's quite a bold claim. So, and I haven't spoken to this child who wrote this, but what I think they're getting at is that learning how to use the internet. That the internet is full of information, some of it good, some of it bad. And that, for me, sums up what we're about. We often hear, and I guess you've said it as well, that, oh, it's all right, the kids will sort out the IT. They know how to work it. And teachers say that as well, oh, don't worry, the kids know what to do. Yeah, kids can play Game Boys, and they can do all of that stuff, and they can manipulate stuff on their computers and their games consoles. But what they need to be educated in is how to use the internet. That the internet is full of really great information, but they don't take it at face value. And you do see it later in life. You see it at university, copy and paste, copy and paste. That's a really important lesson. And our kids are beginning to learn this, that you can't trust everything you read. That's really important. Kids learning at their own pace. Kids having an experience that matches their educational need. Basically, helping an individual child. We call it differentiation. This is a video of a dance lesson. Now, when I started this, quite legitimately I think, some subjects could have said, oh, you know what, brilliant, but we can't use those in our subjects. We can't use that, you know, what are we supposed to do? And I think PE, and I think dance, I think some people are beginning to recognise themselves. I think that was one of those subjects you could possibly do that, but what I want to point out here, the dance teacher here has created a dance and has used a program called Sticks. It's a free program, and if you might have seen it, and you just create little stick men and they dance. And the teacher, you can just see it on the screen there, the teacher emailed the dance for the class to the class. Now normally what would happen is the teacher would stand at the front and work really hard and be dancing away, and you'd have 30 kids in front trying to keep up. What happens here is they've got the dance in front of them, they can stop it, they can start it, they can rewind it, they can slow it down. So they can work at their own pace, and by the end of it, all get to the same place. Rather than somebody at the back being like me and being all over the place, they can get there at their own pace. And I think that's a really powerful piece of education. Kids are communicating better. I don't teach 7Y1, and that was really good because I think it gave me a more objective view of what was going on. So I don't teach them on a day-to-day basis, but I've seen their work. All too often, kids at whatever level, and even at university, when they're told or asked to give a presentation, they will stand and they will do this, and they will read on the board. They're beginning, I'm not saying they're doing it all the time, but they are beginning to present. To use a PowerPoint, not full of text, because everybody can read, they are presenting and using images and using single words to kind of prompt them. Now that's the kind of world they're going to go into, when presentation is important and being able to speak and present themselves. They're going to leave this school with fantastic GCSEs and A-levels. They're also going to leave this school with this project with much more enhanced communication skills.